Today, we're discussing the project manager career path, specifically on how to get the job, how to become a project manager, and then what to do after you get the job to advance your career even further. Now for number 1, with how to get a job, I have done a lot of videos already on this subject, so check out the link that's above to watch that video tutorial. Now before anyone can become a project manager, the very first thing that anyone needs to do on that career path is to learn the skills and build that technical foundation. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are the skills that you need to be a project manager. I personally think that the 2 biggest skills that are must-haves are a solid foundation in how to manage projects using the waterfall traditional approach and the agile framework, specifically with the Scrum methodology. It's one thing to only understand the basics, but it's another thing to actually use the project management software. And for me, that's why it's a must-have skill to understand how to use Microsoft Project for managing traditional waterfall projects, and then Jira for leading agile projects that follow a sprint cadence and daily scrums. These are 2 of the most commonly used software in industry today that you'll see on job postings for many companies. Other variations that you might see are Smartsheet, Asana, ClickUp, and other types of online tools such as Clarizen or Workfront. If you can master the basics of Microsoft Project and Jira, you're going to be on the right path when it comes to answering interview questions and landing that job offer. Other must-have skills are knowing how to review and manipulate data in Excel and creating reports and dashboards in PowerPoint. Since you'll be leading teams and reporting your project's progress to leadership in either a monthly review or at a steering committee, it's very important for you to know how to create clean and visually appealing presentations that persuade your audience and depict your data using graphs. You also need to know how to use a flowchart diagramming software such as Visio or other online collaboration tools such as Miro, Miro, or Lucidchart. Soft skills that are very important to have are communication, organizational, and analytical skills. You'll need to know how to communicate to not just people on your team, but also to people above you in the organization. So that could be managers, senior managers, and directors. And you'll also need to be good at solving problems, resolving conflict internally with your team, and building relationships and your influence with others in your organization. As project managers, we have the word manager in our job title, but we don't necessarily have that official authority since usually the team members, they don't directly report to us. So it's very important to have soft skills in communication and relationship building. Skills that are nice to have on the wish list are software development and programming. I say this as a caveat because this would be helpful if you're applying to be a Scrum Master or a software development project lead. Another nice to have skill would be industry-specific technical knowledge. So this could be tied to construction, finance, manufacturing, operations, engineering, and so on. Learning these skills is the first starting point that you have to do to become a project manager. The next thing that you have to do is to create your resume. This is your golden ticket to showing your employer the best version of who you are and why they should hire you. There are a few key things here to keep in mind when you're creating your resume. The first one is to list out your professional experience from the most recent and then going backwards. The next one is to projectify all of your experiences in your career. Instead of listing day-to-day responsibilities for each company, have subheaders for 1 or 2 projects that you led for each of your past jobs. Underneath each project, quantify your experience and talk about what results you achieved, how big the team was, and how you were able to complete the project on time and within budget. Quantify everything and use numbers to characterize the impact that each project had. The next thing is to remove any irrelevant jobs that are not tied to project management. Let's say you were a waiter or a bartender at a restaurant. If you're applying to be an associate project manager, you probably don't want to list out your previous experiences as a bartender. Focus your resume on your professional work experience, the responsibilities and the skill sets that you've gained in project management. Remember that your resume is your golden ticket to impress the hiring manager, so make sure that every single bullet point on your resume has its own selling point. And lastly, Include any relevant certifications that demonstrate your aptitude in project management. If you've taken Coursera's Google Project Management program, became certified as a Scrum Master, or earned your CAPM through PMI, then list that out on your resume. Another big thing here that I recommend is to keep your resume clean, use the same font throughout, and make sure that it's very easy to read from the hiring manager or the recruiter standpoint. By the way, if you're getting a lot of value out of this video, do me a favor and smash that like button for me. It truly shows your support and it helps the channel out tremendously. Now, after you've created your resume, the next thing you want to do is to create a portfolio showing a list of all the projects that you worked on previously. Think of this as your career Bible that you can use to prepare for your interviews. For me, I like to have a Word document that contains every single project that I worked on with my past employers, where I list out my biggest accomplishments, the project goals and objectives, images of the product that was created, and samples of my own work. I'll even include snapshots of timelines, risk registers, project plans, and other artifacts inside this document. I store this internally on my own computer, and I treat this as a living document that I use when I'm preparing for my own interviews. I highly encourage you to take this extra step and to document at least 2 to 5 projects, because when you do that, it'll be so much easier for you to brainstorm and to come up with answers for both general and technical interview questions for every company that you apply to. To take this step even further, you can showcase your portfolio in your own personal binder, or you can host it on your own personal website. And then you can include that website link on your resume. The very next thing to do after you create your resume is to search for jobs online. I personally recommend first making a list of the top 10 companies you want to work for and going directly to their website to see if there's any openings in project management that you want to apply to. Using the resume that you just created, apply to the job openings. Of course, make sure to tailor and update your resume so it matches the job descriptions that you're applying for. I also recommend using Indeed, Glassdoor, and LinkedIn to search for other opportunities in your industry for project management roles. Search for keywords such as associate project manager, project coordinator, or junior project manager. If you're already CAPM or Scrum Master certified, then include those key terms in your search as well. And a really big tip that I have is to set up a LinkedIn account and create your profile with your work experience, because there are so many recruiters and potential hiring managers who may contact you with opportunities in the field that you want to work in. What you can do on your profile is to say that you're open to new opportunities in project management so that you'll receive messages from potential employers. Now, once you've applied and you've gotten an interview, the next thing you need to do is to prepare for technical, scenario-based, and general questions. For entry-level project manager jobs, the technical questions are primarily focused on the basics in project management. So, dealing with the waterfall traditional approach or using the agile framework. And some interviewers may even ask you about what experience you have using Microsoft Project, Jira, or Smartsheet. At least that's what I found from my own experience. And of course, your interviewers will ask you questions that are more specific to your industry. So you also want to prepare with that in mind. You should also prepare for scenario-based questions that will come up with any kind of interview. So for example, tell me about a time when you managed conflict with people on your team. Tell me about a time when you managed a project and it was not on track. What did you do and how did you resolve the issue? Walk me through the different stages of a project's lifecycle from beginning to the end. One of the most biggest questions that people make the most mistakes on is tell me about yourself. This is probably going to be the first question that the interviewer will ask you, and you want to have a quick 10 to 15 second sentence of your background and why you're the best fit for the job. Don't give an entire speech, and definitely do not tell your whole life story. Keep it short, simple, and to the point, and talk about who you are and why your background is the best fit for the job. The other question that stumps almost everyone, including myself, is what is your greatest weakness? I highly recommend writing down a few areas that you struggle with professionally and write out a few sentences explaining why this is your weakness and what you're doing to overcome it. And my other tip here is to do your research on every company you're interviewing with. Come prepared to explain why you want to work for their company. Specifically, perhaps it's their mission statement their core values and principles, and the products they develop. So after you pass your interviews and now you've landed the job, it's now time to advance your skills. Once you've been a project manager for a few years, what's next? Well, there are a few different paths, and I'm going to talk about each of these. But the first thing you should do is advance your skill set and become certified in project management. I highly recommend becoming a certified project management professional and either a professional Scrum Master or a certified Scrum Master. I also recommend becoming an Agile certified practitioner, also offered by PMI, if your project experience is more specific to the Agile framework. Now, if you're thinking about diving more into business operations and process improvements, I recommend pursuing a Six Sigma certification and becoming a Six Sigma Green Belt or a Six Sigma Black Belt through the American Society of Quality. Other skills you can learn are some of the more advanced techniques with using Excel to get better at analyzing data, creating macros, or just some of the more advanced features in Microsoft Project, and learning how to automate the creation of dashboards and reports. Once you've been a project manager for quite some time, you can also venture into learning more about leadership and the business side of operations by taking courses and programs offered by the university. You could get a master's degree in leadership, operations, computer science, information technology, or even supply chain. Or you could even pursue an MBA to even out your knowledge in different domains, as well as from the business side of things. The master's degree can be really beneficial to you in the long run and make you an even more attractive candidate to other companies. It can also open up much more networking opportunities while you're doing your full-time job. Some companies will even pay or subsidize a portion of your master's degree. So I highly recommend looking into that option if you have it available to you. Aside from going back to school, the other opportunity that you have is to seek out and get promotion inside your company. You'll start out as a junior level project manager, and then you'll progress to a mid-level and then a senior level project manager. Now the senior PM is more focused on handling more complex projects, and they also spend their time coaching and mentoring other junior level PMs. Afterwards, you might be promoted to a manager of program management, where you'll be in charge of leading a group of project managers and possibly coordinating everyone's efforts and overseeing different portfolios. And eventually, if you get promoted high enough, you'll become a director of program management where you'll oversee the entire PMO and you'll spearhead the governance for the entire company. You could also find opportunities as a program manager, which would be one step higher than a senior project manager. Now, many of these roles would involve helping establish a PMO, the processes and the structure of project management, and managing different portfolios. Now, this list is just a small overview of what opportunities are available if you decide to grow your career as a project manager. Now, if you're looking to land your next job as a project manager, then make sure you download my free project management career guide over at alvinthepm.com/career guide. This is a simple free PDF guide so you know the exact steps to follow to fast track your path to a higher income and to help you land your next job as a project manager. Download this right over at alvinthepm.com/career guide and start putting this into action in your own career. If you're still stuck and you want to know how to become a project manager and land that next job opportunity, watch this video next, and I'll see you in the next video.